All right. Welcome to another episode of Sacred Medicine. My name is Brian Earl, your fearless host. I'm here at Rocky Mountain Blaze with the owner, James.
Yep.
How you doing, man?
Good, brother. How are you?
So, a couple of weeks ago, I released a episode called What is Your Medicine? And got a lot of people talking, hey, what's my medicine? So I was contacted by my buddy Derek and said, hey, let's come out here to Rocky Mountain Blaze and let's talk a little bit about, this is your form of medicine.
Yeah, definitely.
And a lot of people's form of medicine, actually.
Right? Yeah. We serve a consistent amount of people every day, We have tons of medicine here, as you can see behind us. Anything from flour to edibles, oil, whatever you're looking for, definitely.
Right on. So how did you get into the dispensary business?
Oh, jeez. Back in 2008, the first dispensary opened out here. Actually, let's go back a few months before that. So early 2008, me and my buddy were trying to convince his mom to turn the sports garden down off of the boulevard into a dispensary.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, we're trying to convince her. She's not biting, because there's nothing. At that time, there was no dispensaries down here. So 3 months later, after we had brought it up to her, Stettler opened Marisol. So I continued on it. I found a location 2011 out in the county. I think it is Maggie's Farms right now.
Yeah.
It's right next to Unmentionables. Yeah. So that was my first location. We painted it, did everything to it, ended up getting screwed out of location by the landlord, Musso. Yeah. That guy, that's a whole nother story. But yeah, so
legends.
That fell through. And then ended up teaming up with Scott Smith for Three Rivers. That was my first store out in Blend. So opened up Three Rivers, opened up the Grow, which is ironically right behind our store now. Built that out, everything, got that in operation. Got screwed in that deal, so I moved on. I owned a couple grows since then. And then I got into Rocky Mountain Blaze just as a manager. And they hadn't opened yet, so with my experience, I got them up and running, got the place profitable, and been going for the last a little over 4.5 years now.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah, we'll hit our 5th year in June.
That's super awesome. 5 years of serving the public with
it's awesome.
Their medicine.
Exactly. Yeah, and I got in on the medical side because I was real big into it being medicine for people, you know. So we definitely helped a lot of people on the med side. Then I got over here to the rec, and we were trying to do the same thing for the rec side that we did for the med. Just provide medicine for everybody older than 21.
Yeah,
definitely.
Of course.
But yeah, just for a big selection. I think we got one of the biggest selections in Southern Colorado as far as vape pens, chocolates, flour. We got a great selection from. I don't know if I can say prices on here or not. Yeah, so say from $40 an ounce, we got 40, 75, all the way up to like 125, 144. So depending on what your quality is you like, potency and flavor, definitely.
That's
we got
awesome.
A little something for everybody.
That's awesome. I mean, I've been in quite a few dispensaries. I've born and raised in Colorado, and of course, when it turned legal, I was lining up. Oh, yeah. Actually, at Marisol, I think I was there on opening day.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I remember back then. I mean, as a grower back then, growing medical flower with your med card, you could turn around and sell it to the dispensary. Mm-hmm. It was crazy back then, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, I know the laws were a hell of a lot less
more lenient. Yeah, well, they were pretty much non-existent, So
yeah, because they were still building on everything. They were still trying to figure out how they were going to form something that had never been done before.
Yeah. Well, and what's crazy is I think we got medical out here in 2001. I want to say. Don't quote me on that because I'm not too sure right now. But yeah, around 2000, 2001, we got medical. And then Like there was a few stores here and there in Denver and stuff, but up until 2008, that's when it started booming for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, when the recreational hit and, you were able to actually go and
Yeah.
buy a joint.
So that was 2012 rec hit. So I remember my buddy Hank Barunda, the greener side. I was in line out there, I was on the news and everything. I'd bought some Girl Scout cookie and whatever, I know that one for sure, but there was a couple others. But yeah, definitely, I was
The
definitely
greener
there
side.
for
I
first.
used to get their Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
all the
that was a
time.
good one.
That was a good one that they used to have all
Hell
the
yeah,
time.
I like that one. It was like a little goat-y, but it had more of a champagne
Yeah,
flavor on the back end. Yeah, it was really
Yeah.
good for sure.
really good bud. Really, really good bud.
Some of the shit that we could find back then, man, there's not strains around like that anymore.
No.
Well, you grew up here, so you probably
yeah.
know about the Gardner D then.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's
Oh, yeah.
nothing like that. Man.
Everybody knows about the Gardner. Well, everybody around these parts
Yeah.
knows about Gardner D.
Yeah.
The good old diesel that there was only a handful of people that were growing it up there.
Exactly.
But everybody in Pueblo was able to get
Yeah.
it pretty much.
I remember that stuff was going for like $4.50 a zip back in the day.
Oh yeah,
It was
it's
crazy.
crazy how prices have changed too with the legalization and with after the legalization of medical, but then into the legalization of recreational, prices have completely changed.
Definitely.
I mean, we used to get swag for the
Yeah.
prices, for more than the prices that you could get quality cannabis in a store that's grown right in a controlled environment.
Yeah,
On top
definitely
of that,
tested and everything.
because back in the day, especially like with the Gardner D, I mean, I'm sure it was a controlled environment, but it was still, undercover. They were
Exactly.
so it wasn't regulated. Things weren't regulated to the point to where you knew exactly what was going into the bud. And now we're getting to a point where hey, there's a label on there that tells you exactly what comes in it.
Yeah, but we always had trust in them because they're the old hippies up in the mountains, that we could trust not to put.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, trust not to put anything too harmful in there. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was those times were wild for sure. Definitely remember the Gardner D. Still looking for something similar to it to this day. So
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the last, it was a kind of diesel. It wasn't New York diesel. Durban D.
Durban D.
Durban D. I think that was
Yeah.
one of the last ones that I had that was sort of close to the old school Gardner diesel. So going back to this being your medicine, so your passion is in the science of growing. at
Yeah,
first,
growing,
right?
retail, getting it out to everybody. Yeah, for
And-
sure, definitely been a grower for a long time.
And what sort of drew you to the growing aspect rather than just being the person, just being like a smoker and just being a connoisseur? What drew you to the point to where you're like, hey, I want to learn how to grow, and I want to learn how to grow the best that there is?
Definitely. Well, as a young kid, I always smoked cannabis, and I finally got to the age. I think it was around summer of 2001. Actually, is when I grew my first plants outside, and they came out pretty good. I was like, oh, I think I can do this. So, fiddled with it here and there because we always rented houses. So, the landlords weren't too hip on you growing pot in their yard or whatever. So 2005 or 2006, we bought our first house. And that's when I did my first 12 plants outside. And man, I had some shit that was like indigo, like this cup. I was like, holy crap. So from then on, I was just hooked. Continued growing, different styles. Learned a lot from, I worked for FedEx, and I went out east for 3 years, and then I switched up routes, and I started going to Gardner and Westcliff was my route. So, and I was rolling to weed back then, so I'm like, I'm gonna find me a Gardner. grower, you know. I'm gonna link up with somebody and I'm gonna get some good strains. And yeah, well, and all through high school is when we were getting the Gardner diesel and stuff
Yeah.
like that. So I knew it was there.
Yeah.
You know, so I ended up running into this guy, asked him for directions, and he was smoking a joint, and I was like, "What are you smoking on?" He was like, "Oh, some diesel." I'm like, "Oh yeah." He was like, "Well, the house you're looking for is right over there." He's like, "But if you want to smoke, stop by. I just live right here down the street." Became friends with him, got in with some of the main growers out there, and from then on, you know, it was just all about learning.
Yeah.
Definitely. So, learned soil, cocoa, you know, deep water culture. You know, I dabbled it in all, and just to figure out what was best for me. And I like deep water culture. You know, I did my own little thing with it, made it recirculating. You know, so
Yeah.
not drained to waste. So, had great results with it. Kept on going, and then 2013 is when we did the build out on Three Rivers. That was my first huge industrial like grow facility, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we always did stuff outside, you know, during the summer, you know.
Yeah.
But so Three Rivers, we set it up. I think we were right under 1,000 square feet per room, and you know, it was mine and I brought on my buddy Kevin. It was mine and his first industrial grow, and they're like, "Oh yeah, once you guys hit 2.5, it's 2.5 pounds per light. It's probably gonna take you guys a while, this and that." You know, like we know what we're doing, you know. So we just applied what we knew, you know, smaller scale to bigger scale.
To a bigger scale.
And we crushed it. These rooms were like, I think they were around 890 square feet, 900 square feet, and we're pulling over 100 pounds a room.
Mm-hmm.
So, Three Rivers was stocked with flour. You know, we
Yeah.
had a crazy back stock of flour, and we were growing pounds for like around $400 a piece.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like freaking out. And we're like, we told you guys we know how to grow. You know, we weren't fucking around. So, you know, we showed them like off jump, somebody that did it for a hobby, you know, wanted to learn, can definitely jump into the industry and apply their knowledge to something on an industrial scale.
Yeah, it's all about the passion that you have for the specific thing that you're wanting to do.
Exactly.
And, you know, if you want to, it like in some of my podcasts, what I talk about is sort of, you know, I'm on the spirituality tip and everything like that, is manifesting your own reality. If you want to be huge in industrial, you can do it. You just have to manifest it, envision it, and see what you want to do. And it sounds like that's exactly what you did.
Definitely.
Like you had the passion for this. You figured out that this was your talent. This is what you're good at, and you manifested this.
Definitely, yeah. I've been married since I got married at 21. I've been with her since I was 18, and she'll tell you, from the age of 18, 16 to 18, this is what I want to do. I wanted a store, you know. Mm-hmm. So I definitely manifested it at a young age and just worked towards it, and you know, I achieved it. We're here. We're doing great. We got a great product for people. We got a great customer base.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And I mean, you talked about doing the grow for Three Rivers. I'm real familiar with Three Rivers. That's, I mean, close to where I used to live. So it's been my go-to spot for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
So I'm familiar with their house strains.
Yeah.
What were some of the strains that you?
Man.
Did you develop any of them, or were they just strains that?
I definitely, we definitely acquired a lot of strains from locally in Colorado. We definitely made some strains. I think there was one Dutch Oven, Tangy Power. We had a purple Fantasy that they killed after I left. We had got Girl Scout cookies in there. What is it? It was an East Coast Sour Diesel cross, and not very many. There's only 2 other grows in the state that have it, and the name's just not coming to my head right now. But yeah, we had Golden Goat.
I know
Cinnamon cookies.
Creme Brulee was something that was sort of exclusive.
Definitely, they probably brought that on afterwards. That's more of a newer one. I left Three Rivers in like 2016.
Mm-hmm.
So, but before that, yeah, we had a strain called Hypo G. We were doing some rosin tech with that one, and it was yielding like 30%.
Oh, right on.
Yeah. So running the grow and stuff like that, back then we were able to make rosin and things in the grow without the MIP.
Yeah.
So we were
So,
able to do that.
aside from the dispensary and the grow, you also do extracts as well, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So what got you into, well, it's obviously the industry. There's a
Yeah.
demand for it once everything turned legal.
Definitely.
There was a demand for the concentrates.
Exactly.
What is your go-to or your favorite concentrate that you make?
Oh, my favorite to make is rosin. Yeah, to make and smoke for sure. Definitely rosin. I feel like it's the purest. Taking some 5-day dry flower, squishing it, you get your nice yield, great terpene profile. It's full spectrum. Definitely love the rosin. I like the new. So I've been doing extracts since about 2008. We were open blasting back then. So, first time I ever seen a jar of concentrates, we were over at a buddy's house, and this guy came down from New York.
Yeah.
So he had this little ball jar, the one with the diamond facets on the outside.
Yeah.
Pops this jar open, and it's good. You could tell they had used bud because it was real, real light. And I was like, "What is that?" He's all, "It's wax, bro." He's like, "We dab this." I was like, "What do you mean dab?" There was no dab apparatuses back then, nothing, dude. So he pulls out this tall fucking bong, puts a nail in it, heats the nail up, puts the bulb over the top, and then hits it. And I'm like, what the fuck? I grabbed some from him that day, started putting my own rig together. I ended up having to order a nail and bulb and shit from California. I'm sorry, not California, New York, because it was, I want to say it was like Glass Labs or something like that. I don't know. It's been a long fucking time. But yeah, put my own rig together. So me and my buddy Chris were like probably the only two kids in Southern Colorado that had fucking dab rigs. Man. It was crazy shit. And then after that, the guy, he was like, dude, you guys can make this shit here. So that's when we started blasting and making waxes and shatters and sugars and yeah.
I dabbled when I was younger. I dabbled in open blasting with using the butane and everything, and I had gotten pretty good at it. But man, that to take something, I really admire what you've done within the industry as far as how you've made yourself who you are and made this store pretty much, because this was something that I thought that I would be doing when I was a kid and when I was in high school. I was thinking, because I can grow. I know a little bit about growing. I've messed with the 5 count or the 5 gallon jugs all connected. Doing the different
some like
the ebb and flow
yeah.
and all that other stuff, and I've also done a couple of plants outside, but I've never really pushed myself to where you're like, hey, go get a license and actually do it right.
Yeah.
Or like instead of sitting out in the garage, with butane and old clippings and everything, trying to make wax and everything, the way that you have taken this and built it into, I would say this is pretty much your kingdom.
Definitely.
For
sure.
You're surrounded by a bunch of products that you make that you could also, sell legally now. This wasn't something that was around 20 years ago.
No, definitely not. And it's come a long way since it first started getting popular, and the brands and the cartridges and stuff like that. I remember back in the day when we first opened Three Rivers, it was O-Pen was the biggest pen brand.
Yeah.
They were one of the only ones out there. And there's so many different options now, from live resin to distillate with organic or fruit terps, it's just crazy. And then just to think that back then we only had really the one option was the O-Pen. They had all their different flavors, but they all kind of tasted the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
But now you got all these different options, and they actually don't taste the same. They have their own.
Yeah,
specific
O-Pen was
unique
always,
taste.
like mango with a hint of vegetable oil.
Right.
Or strawberry with a hint of vegetable oil.
Yeah,
It always
definitely.
had just a little bit of that. You could sort of feel like you were sucking on a fryer at a
Right.
fast food restaurant.
An old
But,
French fry.
I mean, it worked, but you're like, hey, cool. But to think
Yeah, it
of,
worked.
to come up with all the different ways of how can we make this better? What else can we add to it? What can we do to make this a better high for people or more
Definitely.
enjoyable?
That's this right here. The Cushman Snowballs. We came up with that one. It's sold exclusively here. The bud's testing at, what is that? 51.91% THC. But you can
And
pop
this
that in.
is so this is a concentrate, obviously.
Yeah,
that you're
so
making.
that one is 1 gram of flour and a half gram of concentrate. Or so it's a half gram flour, half gram concentrate.
Oh, that's awesome. So it's almost sort of like the
It's a caviar. It's our play on caviar. We're calling it
sort of
snowballs.
like the old moon rocks.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's cool. That's awesome. I'm gonna have to check that out.
definitely. We'll send you with one today for sure. Hell yeah.
So, what are your plans? Obviously, you're not done. Because listening to you and listening to the way that just the kind of person that you are, and the way that you manifest your own destiny, it doesn't seem like you're satisfied and stopping out
No,
at one thing.
yeah. I definitely spread myself pretty thin for sure between running this place, coaching softball, and then we're actually opening Juicy Concentrates, our cartridge company.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll make distillate there, do cartridges, infused joints, syringes, and possibly edibles, to come in the future. Who knows?
Yeah.
Possibilities are endless for MIP. We can do tons of different things. We actually have that company, Juicy. We have another play of Moon Rock that we're doing that I don't think anybody's ever seen before. So this shit's wild. It's going to blow some minds for sure.
Oh, that should be interesting to
Yeah.
check out.
Definitely.
So I know that here at Rocky Mountain Blaze, you guys are doing a lot more community outreach and trying to get more information out to the public and try to work with the Pueblo community a little bit more.
Definitely.
What are some of the ways that you're sort of pushing yourself out there?
So one of the other partners actually started a what is it called? Handbar challenge. There we go. And so he's challenging. It's on our website. You can go. Is it nominate or refer somebody that may need a handbar? Elderly person may have a handicap or something. That needs a handbar, and he'll actually go out and install it. And it's something that he used to do when he was younger, when he lived out in Texas. He used to go install handbars or towel bars, whatever it is these people needed, that they couldn't do themselves, just to help the community. And so he wanted to start that again. So we're doing that. And I know he's done a few so far, but if we could get it out there and anybody that needs a handbar, definitely contact Rocky Mountain Blaze.
That's awesome. And you said that's on your website. What's your website?
RockyMountainBlaze.com or rmblaze.com.
Awesome. Are there any other programs or anything that you're going to be thinking about working on in the future as far as working with the community?
We definitely do our food drives every year, for Thanksgiving, Christmas, toy drive, stuff like that. Tragedies like in the community, like one of the girls I used to coach, she just got in a really bad accident this last weekend. So I'm going to put together a bunch of product and create a basket and start taking donations or basically raffle it off. And then we're going to donate all that money to her medical expenses, her mom's traveling expenses, all that type of thing.
That's awesome.
So we try and help, not. I mean, it's only helping one person, but it's relieving the stress off of that one family. Helping relieve the stress anyway off that one family. If we can do that one family at a time, hopefully we'll be here for many years to come, and we can help out hundreds of people.
It's a ripple effect.
Exactly.
You drop that little bit of water into the pond, and it ripples out, and the next thing you know, it's bigger and bigger and bigger, and
Definitely.
And the karma always comes back, and obviously, you're very successful. You're doing awesome here. I heard you say that you coach sports.
Yeah, softball. I've coached 10U softball, 12U, and 14U.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing that?
Oh, geez. Well, I started coaching my girls back. It's been like 8 years now, man. 9 years.
Mm-hmm.
She's started off with T-ball. Then it went to coach's pitch. Then it went to pitching machine. And now they're growing up now. So now it's fast pitch.
Fast pitch.
They're both
pitch,
on
yeah.
competitive teams and stuff like that. So. Last year I did 3 teams. I did 10s, 12s, and 14s. And man, it was like working another job. I would leave here and I'd go to the field and I'd be there from 4 o'clock till like 9:30, 10 o'clock sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
I
this
know
year
how
I'm
that
only
goes.
doing the Azteca 12U, which that's the team my youngest plays for. So she's only 10, but I moved her up because she sprung up like 5 inches last year, and she's hitting like a 12-year-old now. So I was like, well, we're gonna move you up because she goes to middle school next year, so she'll be playing with those girls anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a passion that I didn't know I had until I started doing it. You know what I mean? Because now it's like, I never watched baseball before. I thought baseball was the most freaking boring sport. And then I started coaching softball, and I watch every freaking Rockies game now. You know what I mean? It's just opened up a whole new world to me. So definitely love coaching for sure.
That's awesome. So, and through, it's just sort of like in some of my other shows that I've talked about, I've talked about how definitions change and how things change throughout life and throughout your journey. And that's definitely something, that comes up. You find new things that you had no idea that you were passionate about. And then you're like, hey man, this is awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna keep doing this.
Yeah. If you guys ever have any need for it, I would like to work with you guys some more.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
Like you guys know that I'm a musician here in town. Whenever there is a tragedy or something like that, and you need help putting together benefits and stuff like that and getting musicians, I have the connection with tons of awesome musicians.
Awesome, yeah,
And
definitely.
that have
for sure.
huge hearts, and they're always willing to go out and help out with whatever they need to.
Definitely.
So if you guys ever need anything with anything like that, you let me know.
Heck yeah, that's
how
awesome.
we doing on time there, Derek?
No rush. It's you. It's all you. No rush.
Definitely.
Good time.
Yeah, but I'd love to get you guys in on it with us. I mean, we love to get out there to the community, let them know that we're not just here just to sell flower or concentrates or they're just their medicine. You know what I mean? We're here to be part of the community, because I was born and raised in Pueblo, Colorado. So, this is my home. So this is where I plan to stay. I'm not gonna get successful and go buy a house up north in Denver or anything like that. No, I'm staying here. Like, this is where I need to be to make the biggest difference for sure.
And the legal cannabis community or industry really has done a lot for the community here in Pueblo. I mean, you don't hear about it a lot in the news, or you don't, see people talking about it a lot. But I mean, the revenue that's coming back into the community from
Definitely.
the industry. Every time I drive down the highway, and you see the, adopt a highway litter control, stuff like that, it always seems to be a cannabis company or an extract company that is, sponsoring, and they're getting out there and they're putting money back into the community.
Definitely, yeah. And I mean, people are maybe like, oh, it's just a highway sign, but those cost like $1,400 a month, So
Yeah.
those guys are definitely contributing on top of the taxes that they pay to the county every month, So
Well, you don't see anybody turning into Scarface here in town.
right?
You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
exactly. Yeah, there's until they change the tax rules on us, then we basically just do enough business to survive and do some shows, do some events, because we don't get to ever write off like any promotions,
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing we get to write off is the cost of flowers. So
Yeah. Well, and a lot of people don't really realize that aspect of the industry, that all the regulations that you're having to go through, all the fees that you're having to pay, all the extra taxes, you're getting slammed.
oh yeah, it's like 24%.
So, like, in reality, a financial advisor from New York or something would tell you that the cannabis industry is not something to get into because it's nothing but a pain in the ass. They're gonna, raid you left and right for fees and taxes and everything else.
Mm-hmm.
But there's people like you that want to make sure that people get their medicine, and not only medicine. Yeah, we use it for recreation. A lot of people use it for recreation.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? That's what it's there for. People have vices. You know, we smoke. We do what we do. Some people drink. Some people would prefer to smoke. This is, in my opinion, a hell of a lot less harmful than alcohol.
Definitely.
I've seen the detriments of alcohol left and right, and I've also seen super successful people that are stoned like a gravel road all day long.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, functioning stoners for sure. You have to be in this industry. I mean, because man, you have to stay high sometimes just to deal with all the stresses throughout the day. But you still got to be able to function, talk to people, get your stuff done. And I mean, we have a great general manager here. She keeps us on our toes, all compliant. So we're definitely doing good. We plan on being here for a long time, serving the community, working with the community. Definitely.
For sure. Well, you got an awesome facility here. I think it's awesome. I think it's awesome that Derek reached out to me to sort of bring this little collab together,
Yeah,
because
definitely.
I mean, I'm learning so much more just sitting at this table with you for a few minutes, just seeing the insight of what's having to happen in the industry, what you're having to go through, but not only that, the passion that you have to be in this industry.
Definitely.
And it goes right along with, the episode that I did a while back that said, what is your medicine? What do you do to heal yourself and to help heal others? And it looks like, you have your medicine all over right here. And,
Yeah, definitely.
And you're creating things. You're not just, sticking with the, rolling joints and having a bunch of weed in jars. There's so much more stuff that's happening, and you're creating so much more.
Definitely. I think you got to stay ahead of the curve, creating new products. Joints, we usually have, I can roll big, small, tulips, cross joints. We usually have those out. We sell those. We just got to like to spice it up, not the same old thing that you see in every other dispensary.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's cool too. That would be cool to be able to walk into a dispensary and find some of those novelty.
Right? Yeah.
joints,
Yeah, I'll do like a 14-gram joint, and people walk in and be like, "Whoa." And they usually sell within a day or two. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah. So I do those every now and then, and get those out there. But yeah, I love the industry. Love helping these people. Love getting them their cannabis. And yeah, it does take a person with a lot of drive and putting a lot of care into this, because we're not getting rich like everybody thinks we are. You know what I mean? It's not money hand over fist. I mean, the hand over fist money goes to the government. So seriously, I mean locally and through the state. I mean, it's not federally legal yet, but they sure get a lot of their tax money. That's
Yeah.
for dang sure. So hopefully things change here soon, and we're able to be treated like a regular business.
Yeah, and be able to bank right and
Exactly.
and everything
'Cause
else.
we're supposed to be regulated like alcohol, but I mean we're way more heavily regulated than alcohol.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So, I mean we're not allowed to really advertise. You can't show cannabis or anything. You got these beer companies showing beer being poured, stuff like that. I mean it's the same concept. So
Yeah.
I think people just need to realize that. Like I said, everybody has their vice. Some people, it may be wine or it may be beer, or they go to the cigar lounge and they like their whiskey or bourbon and their cigar,
Mm-hmm.
and we like to smoke cannabis. So, I mean, I think to each their own, and
Yeah, and we
everybody
should-
live and be happy.
Yeah, exactly. I'd rather sit around with a bunch of dudes and be stoned off of my ass than be drunker than snot.
Drunk and not being able to walk, and I'm not a big drinker, so
Yeah.
it's crazy. I could go out and have 3 beers and I'm buzzed, and I'm like, shit, man, fucking lightweight. And we were drinkers in high school, so shit.
I work in that industry. I'm a bartender too,
Yeah.
so I bartend one night a week. And yeah, I serve alcohol, and I not only that, I own a karaoke company. And
Okay.
I play live music. So my business is the nightlife pretty much. So I'm around alcohol constantly, and I have seen people, go from a somewhat successful and got their stuff together to have, a few months of a bad bender, and life went to
Yeah.
hell just because of a whole bunch of alcohol. and they
Yeah,
couldn't
I lost
handle it.
one of my best friends, one of my brothers that I grew up with, to alcohol. And
Mm-hmm.
he just drank too much, and he liked to drink. That was what he liked to do. So yeah, I mean,
I can't really say that
everything's good in moderation.
I can't really say I've ever lost a friend to weed.
Yeah, I have not. I have not. Maybe lost him in the refrigerator, but no.
Yeah, or in the line at McDonald's or
Yeah.
something like that. Maybe, smoking a little bit too much up at the mountain park, and you lose them on a trail,
Right.
man. But
They're just wandering, looking at nature.
hey, man, they're on a healing path on that mode.
Yeah, exactly. They're one with nature at that point.
Yeah. Well, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up a little bit. It was so awesome to get reached out by Derek, to have him reach out and hit me up to come out here. It was awesome to meet you.
Oh yeah, definitely, man.
This is a medicine that I have a lot of passion for myself. I'm somewhat of a connoisseur,
Nice.
been my whole life. So much so that I get so stoned. I get the ideas of, oh man, I could grow so much. Look at all the space I got. And then you come down and you're like going, no, I can't.
I shouldn't do that.
I probably shouldn't. But it was awesome for y'all to invite me down here. I love the
yeah.
facility. It was awesome to sit here and talk with you. Hopefully we get together again.
Yeah, definitely.
Maybe at some point we'll schedule something and we'll get a couple other people
Yeah,
and sit around and have
Go
a
around.
round table.
definitely. Heck yeah.
Right on.
We'll find another undisclosed location that
Yeah.
we can consume marijuana at.
Yeah, we'll find somewhere where we could actually sit and taste test.
Exactly. Definitely. Hell
Well,
yeah, man.
Thanks for inviting me out here. Thanks for helping me produce an episode of Sacred Medicine, and hopefully we'll work together soon, man.
Definitely. Thanks,
Have a good
brother.
one.